Welcome to beautiful Red Rock Canyon in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's also known as Red Rocks to a lot of people. It's a popular hiking destination, nature scenery place with some Joshua trees. You can see the giant sandstone formations. The red color comes from a compound called hematite, and sometimes the dunes 180 million years ago would reverse course, and the rains would wash out some of the hematite red color and create these different shades of pink and beige. So this is what the desert climate looks like around here. It's a high desert. There are some yucca plants, none as tall as you would see in San Diego. Some Joshua trees even, and they're all very small. This is Max the turtle. This is Max the desert tortoise. These are all over the American Southwest, especially in the Mojave Desert, going all the way to LA even, or San Diego. Although I rarely see these, they're endangered. The visitor center is very beautiful. I'm going to start reading off some signs. I hope you don't mind. Creosote serves as a nursery for a small gnat-like insect called the creosote gall midge. Female midges lay their eggs on the stems. When the eggs hatch, the larvae burrow in, which causes the stems to swell into walnut-sized balls called galls. There are many insects that have galls. I have 2 or 3 videos on wasp galls that are much bigger, and they sort of look like red little fruits. Not quite the size of apples, but size of ping pong balls. Check those out if you're interested. So once these midges have their larvae safe inside, they munch on the plant's tissues until it's time to emerge as adult midges. So that's something I didn't know about creosote. I thought it was just this kind of immortal bush plant that just isn't bothered by anything, but there's something to predate on every single plant out here. So getting back to Max the desert tortoise, the pet of this visitor center. It's taken care of by the staff. They made artificial burrows for it, but in the wild, these half moon-shaped tunnels can be as long as 35 feet or 11 plus meters. In the winter, tortoises will create a berm to keep temperature and moisture loss to a minimum. So they've been known to go into people's homes to beg for shelter or try to sneak into people's garages, tool sheds, and other places, and they don't seem to be that afraid of humans. They're just very slow and very old living creatures. Desert tortoises can be found at the base of desert shrubs, their burrows, or in wash banks. Many species of mammals, birds, reptiles, and invertebrates have been known to share their burrows. So the turtle's name is Mojave Max. It's a spokes turtle for this Clark County Desert Conservation Program. It's a male tortoise, about 20 years old, comes out generally in the spring or fall, and during winter they go into brumation, which is the reptile form of hibernation. The Red Rock Canyon Visitor Center is great. It seems to be really well funded, very new looking. They have all these exhibits. I headed out for a hike slightly after noontime. So, I was planning to stay here for a few hours. People had said good things about this place. It's one of the main attractions in terms of hiking around Las Vegas. And, I bought a guidebook here. It's a very pleasant experience, but, I had to wrap things up after about an hour of touring the insides to go out and, do the scenic drive and get some hiking in. The desert tortoise has many enemies. They face a lot of natural threats when they're young. Ravens will eat the youngsters. Roadrunners can peck through their shells because they're still too soft and thin. Gila monsters can dig out tortoise burrows to get at their eggs. Badgers and kit foxes eat both eggs and young. I've never seen a badger in the desert. They just don't come out during the daytime, I guess. They do have hunting alliances with coyotes, which is interesting. So the hatchlings face many threats, and ravens can make mountains out of their corpses, but humans come into play only in terms of damaging the environment, their habitat, or capturing them to take them as pets. Desert tortoises live in the Mojave and Sonoran deserts of southwestern Utah and Nevada, southeastern California, and western Arizona, in habitats below 5,000 feet. I believe this area has an elevation of above 4,000 feet, and that definitely changes as you get into the mountains. nearby. So they depend solely on vegetation for food, although sometimes animals do eat meat or insects if it's convenient for them. Its home range is less than 1 square mile, and when non-native grasses come in, it has trouble getting all the nutrition it needs due to plant competition. So these Joshua trees only get as big as this, at least that's what I saw. Summertime temperatures can soar to 110 F or 43 Celsius. On the desert floor, it gets a lot hotter. I don't know about frying an egg, but over the course of a day, it'll probably cook to some degree. Most people already know that temperatures decrease by about 3 Celsius with every 1,000 foot gain in elevation, or some kind of fixed equation thereof. But in the canyons, it gets a lot colder as well, 11 Celsius colder than on the desert floor here, because cold air sinks in from the mountain peaks at night and gets trapped. And during the day, the late afternoon, you're already in complete shade, so it feels a lot cooler, which works to your advantage if you're hiking out in the desert or any hot place. Just being anywhere in the sun during the daytime, anywhere, can heat you up quite a bit. This is one of many balconies overlooking the Red Rock formations with a Native American fire pit replica built into this end of the balcony. I'm going to read off the sign a little bit. They were used to roast agave hearts, type of plant that grows around here and has many species. So agave hearts were an important source of nutrition. They were harvested and roasted. So the hearts were roasted in circular pits of 5 to 10 feet across. Firewood was placed into the pit, then topped with limestone rocks, which hold heat well. And they would just let them roast for a while. Slow cook for a day or more. Seems very, very long. Probably just a convenience thing. Then they scraped them off and ate them. So it's a very fuel efficient form of cooking. There's not a lot of wood around here. And we're gonna drive around. Well, I don't actually show you any footage of that, but I took a hike into the desert and just got off at some random trail at this midpoint. And this is another exhibit talking about fires and natural grasses versus invasive grasses. So if invasive grasses grow in large quantities, then they basically remove all the space between plants. That creates wildfires that can spread very quickly and burn everything and damage native habitat that would otherwise be okay. A virga is a type of rain that never reaches the ground because the humidity is so low. If the humidity is sub 10%, nothing even condenses on ice blocks or cold metal. So out here in the desert, you'll see sometimes Vegas thunderstorms, such as in the late summer, at a distance, starting fires with lightning bolts, but the rain itself never reaches the ground. And of course, out here in the far inland deserts, you can see hares and cottontails. I didn't know that they could bend their ears down to press them against their body to reduce visibility for predators and also to conserve heat. Very neat adaptive feature that they have. I've never seen that. They probably come out around, sunset, along with all these other creatures like a kit fox. I've never seen that here. And mule deer, I do see those sometimes during the day. So then I went and left the visitor center. You can see this is just a random hiking trail, the White Rock Trailhead that I stopped at. It's somewhere along this 13-mile scenic drive. There's a heavily infested by desert mistletoe, juniper tree, and you can see these things, these kind of structures sprouting on a lot of pine trees in the high mountains in San Diego County and nearby. That's basically what that stuff is. I didn't know for the longest time until it was very clear here. So I think that's just the native vegetation, and you can see just balls of mistletoe everywhere. The infestations can get so bad that they kill plants. And here's a type of pine that just grows like a big ball. Most of this White Rock Trail was very rocky, sort of in washes. Not really a canyon, but it all looks like this. And it's very slow to navigate because there are all these loose rocks that are smooth. This is desert paintbrush, a perennial parasite that actually feeds on other plants nearby. Very interesting plant. I wish I could get enough footage to make a feature video of it, maybe next time I go to Vegas. This is point leaf manzanita. There are many different species of manzanita. You know, early on in my YouTube career, I thought I was going to have the time and wherewithal to make feature videos for all of them, but oftentimes I just can't identify them, and there are many species in the mountains and deserts, so I'll just take them as I can. So most of your hike will look like this in these washes. It's easy to get lost in this terrain too because there's no clear demarcation of the trails. I think I went off trail at many points, and on the way back I could see the main gravel trail parallel to where I was walking, and I was just in this expansive wash that just looked like it, right, running parallel to it. And the same thing actually happened to a coworker that went hiking. She claimed the exact same thing happened to her and her friends. I don't know what the species is. There are many kinds of desert wildflowers that are blooming during spring. Yeah, so even with the internet, there are just so many things I can't identify, although I've identified quite a few species along this trail. So the tree we're looking at here is the Utah juniper. It's a very commonplace conifer that grows along the rocky washes of White Rock Trailhead, as you can see, and with previous footage there's a lot of infestation by desert mistletoe. They say they can grow 6 meters high, but I think this one has already reached that limit. There are no doubt ones that are much bigger. The southern Paiutes, a Native American tribe, would make clothing, sandals, skirts out of this loose fibrous bark. They'd boil the twigs and berries to make a cold remedy. This is a perfect natural shelter, the ones that survivalists would dream about finding. All you have to do is make a fire and you're set, and gather some branches or something to shield from the wind. So this is what most of the trail looks like. I'm not even sure if this is still on the trail, and these are western tent caterpillars. I have a dedicated video to that. I really regret not bringing my expensive camera out. This is all done, filmed using my cell phone camera, which is still pretty good. It's 4K video, but it can't compare with a larger sensor size of a SLR camera. So this video is going to wrap up soon. I hope you enjoyed it and all the factoids, all the animal and plant IDs. This was some final footage of the Joshua Tree Forest, so to speak, on the scenic drive on the way out. It's a 13-mile loop. It's a very beautiful place, and I really wish I could have spent more time and brought my good camera out and gotten a few days worth of hiking instead of just one day.